Spendapaloozers. That's the focus of tonight's angle. If it's a week before Christmas, it's time for Congress's annual spending farce, known as a continuing resolution.
It's supposed to be about keeping government operations open and providing disaster relief aid to hurricane victims, which I'm sympathetic to. But if you read the bill carefully, it contains pay raises for members of Congress, and I'm not making this up, an expansion of their federal health benefits. It contains all kinds of special interests and pork funding, including opening up a new stadium in Washington, D.C. It renews the Global Engagement Center, which is a key node of the censorship industrial complex.
And President Trump weighed in tonight on Truth Social, saying any Republican that would be so stupid as to do this and will be primaried. Everything should be done and fully negotiated prior to my taking office on January 20th. Now, I know why Congress hasn't gotten a raise in 15 years, right? They haven't gotten a raise. It's in this actual legislation. But do they deserve a raise? How many have made huge money trading stocks using their inside info? They've dug us into a $37 trillion hole. But at least Senator Schumer's happy.
There are many good things in this bill that Democrats worked hard for and achieved. Democrats have insisted these agreements must not have cuts, and this bill has no cuts.
Of course he's ecstatic. His staff probably wrote much of it, at least the liberal goodies inside, and all of those little IEDs in the text blowing up on us, such as the provision that makes it even easier for the government to conceal info about the rigged January 6th congressional investigation. That's nice. J.D. Vance knows this all too well. It's a shell game. And he lambasted the process, urging Republicans to pass a temporary funding bill without Democrat giveaways. He also spoke out about what President Trump wants in the bill.
What the president believes is we should support a clean CR so long as it contains a debt limit increase. That's the position of the president, and that's what we're going to try to push for.
Well, tonight we can report that it looks like the pressure may be working. The House adjourned late today, and word from Chad Pergram is that this CR is effectively DOA. Well, we'll see. This is great news if it is. Now is the time to set the table for 2025. That's what Trump and Vance are alluding to here. The voters want practical solutions to the problems bearing down on us. And nothing about this CR and the process by which it arrived on our doorsteps is practical. Will Democrats refuse to go with a clean bill? Will they force a partial government shutdown before Christmas, then hope the Republicans get the blame? Maybe. But who cares? Make them defend their game of smoke and mirrors. Right about now, sane people watching tonight are asking, what is the reason for this yearly last-minute spendapalooza? Well, I'll tell you why. Because there are about 300 members in the House who like it this way. A last-minute bill stuffed with a lot of pork, no real time to read it, and no need to defend it, where deals are cut to spend money we don't have or projects we don't need. That's perfect.
We're just fundamentally unserious about spending. And as long as you got a blank check, you can't shrink government. If you can't shrink government, you can't live free.
43 days ago, the American people gave us a mandate. Why in the world, days before we swear in on January 3rd, are we going to work with all the Democrats to pass all of this pork?
And you can't just blame Democrats, though. Yeah, they still control the Senate, and that's a problem. But plenty of Republicans have gotten used to this game as well. Despite all the conservative foot-stomping about the need to cut spending, there are usually only a few dozen members willing to blow the whistle on what's becoming institutionalized taxpayer theft.
Buried in this CR is a pay raise for lawmakers. Do you think that Congress deserves a raise?
Not the way it's acting.
Are you going to vote for the CR?
Nope.
It doesn't send the right message. Absolutely not. No, we should be cutting spending everywhere. That's really the truth. I mean, I was a no vote before I even got an airplane and even knew what coming into town and even knew what was in the bill.
I do not think we've done anything to deserve a pay raise. We're the only job in the world where we can just arbitrarily create more funding and just steal from our great-grandchildren.
Yeah, well, the ones voting for this should get some coal in their stocking at the very least. But now, maybe with Trump back, more will stand up, and they should. Think about the American families, what they do with their budgets every month. If you're responsible, you give yourself a certain percentage to spend on extras after you take care of essentials. If you care about your credit rating, you don't spend more than you make, especially when you've already got outstanding loans that you haven't paid off. If you want to rest easy, you're not just spending either, you're saving as well. But Congress doesn't follow those common sense rules. But this madness cannot continue. For the first time, the interest we pay on the debt is more than we spend on our national defense. Yeah, it's edging up to $1 trillion in interest payments. This is crazy town. Trump's team, once they're fully in charge, will be on a wartime footing. Yeah, I'm calling it wartime. Because they're battling to expose this twisted process and give us very specific areas that need to be cut. This time, Trump will have the added help in the bully pulpit with Vance and Musk and Vivek and others. The pressure on Congress to change their ways will be hard to resist. And Speaker Johnson, with an even slimmer majority this year, well, will absolutely need the Doge magic. Going into 2026, the GOP needs to keep broadening its coalition, but also please elect fiscal conservatives. As of now, too many have drunk the swamp water. That's a new drink. Maybe we should call that up at the bar. And that's The Angle. Joining us now, Missouri Senator Eric Schmitt and Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. That would be a sellout in the bars in D.C. Senator, let's start with you. President Trump posted again on Truth Social tonight, right up before showtime. Sounds like the ridiculous and extraordinarily expensive continuing resolution is dying fast, but can anyone imagine passing it without either terminating or extending the debt ceiling guillotine coming up in June? He's right, Senator. This is all going to fall on him if it goes down the way it's going to go down with a actual passing of this legislation.
Right, and thank God President Trump's coming in. We need this kind of leadership. I mean, this whole thing, I've been here for 2 years. This is just a disaster.
Is it all?
Yeah.
It seems like you've been here a lot
Well, actually,
longer.
it does feel like that more to me.
I know, for me, I feel like you've been here for 10 years.
Right, but we don't, this is what we do. It's terrible way to do it. It's so stupid, and every year we get to this same place, and people are somehow surprised. They pack it all in. We don't do normal appropriations bills. We need to have a real process. President Trump ran on a platform of reforming permanent Washington, and the best way you can do that is to reform this whole process, which is a mess.
Well, here we go tonight with Hakeem Jeffries, Congresswoman. You knew this was coming. I alluded to it in The Angle. Hakeem Jeffries said that he's claiming that the GOP has been ordered to shut down the government.
I don't think that that's the case. What I can tell you is, this is now my second term in office. I've never voted for a CR, but it's fundamentally a broken system when you have Congress depending on the annual CRs or the, biannual things that we do to get a budget balanced and negotiated. Frankly, we could go back to single subject spending bills, but expecting President Trump to eat the failures of the Biden administration and intentionally putting a debt ceiling negotiation for this summer that's supposed to fall under President Trump's presidency is essentially what the Democrats have engineered. So I actually say we should shut down the government. We should do the single subject spending bills. We'll still make sure that military, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid is all paid for. But essentially, we need to be holding ourselves accountable and also ensuring that the American people are getting what they deserve.
Now, Congressman Tom Massey sounds like he's pretty fed up. Watch.
How much worse is this CR than expected or imagined, that it's become, like you said, the tipping point for you not voting for Johnson?
Well, the CR was expected to be about 30 pages, and this is 1,500 pages. So it's 50 times worse, numerically.
Senator, how much worse is this bill than originally thought? I know it started at 26 pages, and it ended up being 1,547 pages, I believe.
It's terrible, but this is business as usual. I mean, it had Chuck Schumer. I've been fighting Chuck Schumer on this censorship enterprise. This global engagement center that's funded in here, we thought we had killed it. Chuck Schumer got it back in here. This is essentially
That's
the
why
entity.
he's smiling tonight.
Yeah, this is the entity that is funded to censor conservatives. We should not be doing any of this stuff. We need real reform. President Trump's going to usher it in, but this thing's a disaster. So my hope is in the House they start from square one and actually have some fiscal responsibility.
I mean, a clean bill probably could be about 30 pages, maybe, right? I mean, it could be pretty easy.
And you don't need Democrats for it.
Yeah. Right, you don't need Democrats.
We don't need Democrats, and I think, though, Congress isn't used to doing this, but we should be. Again, we've been advocating for there to be single subject spending bills. As you know, Laura is one of the 20 that helped to kind of reset the House rules because of this reasoning. But the fact is that you have a lot of people, some members are even getting threatened with committee assignments if they don't vote a certain type of way, and that simply can't be tolerated, especially now.
Can I make one point? I think people think when they send people up here, we have like a process on the floor, we debate things, and we have
you never
that
debate.
Isn't what happens
There's
at all.
never a debate.
It isn't. Chuck Schumer spends 0 time, 0 minutes on the Senate floor on any of these appropriations bills, and then all of a sudden 4 people at the end negotiate this monstrosity. Nobody can read it, and you use the pressure of getting home for Christmas to get people to vote for it.
But isn't it true that we never know who writes it?
Well,
in the room where it happens, right? We don't know who's writing it. We know that the hands of liberal activists are in there. We know Republicans get their Pentagon spending, but
it's never an open process.
No,
yeah, at least not since I've been here. I don't know.
Yeah, open it up to members. You would actually have conservative voices in the room then dealing with some of these issues.
Make the Democrats own it.
That's what I say, and I think that Speaker Johnson has the ability to do that. I'm here for it, so I hope he
All
is.
right, well, we'll come over to my house for Christmas. All right, Senator, Congresswoman, thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.